That's the theme to a television program that rewrote the record books and brought about a new strip-type programming of a soap. Everybody seems to be doing it now, but the one that really started it all was number 96. A man who played a very big part in that is our next guest, and it's Johnny Lockwood, who starred as Aldo, the delicatessen. But his career goes back a lot longer than that, and we'll talk to him about that. Hello, Johnny. Welcome to Remember When.
I think Johnny's been brought to the phone as we speak. I heard somebody say, "Hey, Johnny, you're on now." You there, Johnny?
How are you, Philip?
We're fine. And Bruce actually just asked you about the very early days as you were coming to the phone, Johnny.
Yeah.
You know, the days prior to number 96.
I think that it's about this time, I think it was about this month in 1972, that we did the pilot for 96.
Well, did any of you realise that it'd have such a long run and such a ratings winner?
Oh, I don't think anybody did or thought of it. I thought personally they were all crackers when they said it was going to go on 5 nights a week. I thought they were all bomb-bombs. But there you are.
Yes, I was in Sydney with you at the time doing the Moneymakers, you might recall, and you were in the next studio, huh?
Yeah.
And we sort of pioneered stripping programs 5 nights a week. Until 1972, people would only watch programs like The Great Temptation once a week.
Yeah, well, the point, when you talk about stripping, you can talk whatever you like about 96. It was never anything like there is today. I mean, God almighty, I think that in those days you could show a breast for 2 seconds or a bum for 2 seconds. Now they go on and have a cup of tea sitting there in the nude.
Yes, you would never have stooped to that, would you, Aldo?
Well, I didn't strip, although they said I did one day. There's a picture of me in the bath, say Aldo strips, I nearly had my overcoat on. I was stripped once and they said, cover up, and it needs ironing.
Hey, let's go back earlier than number 96. Let's go back to some of your successes in London, in the West End, like Oliver, for example, and Royal Command performances, and vaudeville and pantomime.
Well, let's go back. You know how long I've been in this business now?
No.
In January next year, I will have been in this business 58 years.
Gee, Johnny, that really must be some sort of record.
A long time, isn't it?
Yes.
Started off as a dancer in London in 1935. And from there I developed into troops and so forth. I used to do impressions. Then I eventually got a job as a comic. And then I went in the Air Force. And then I came out of the Air Force. I went back to comedy. And I did a Royal Command performance in 1949. I was brought out here for 10 weeks for the Tivoli circuit,
Yes.
And I think that I starred in more shows for the Tivoli than anybody since Mo. I had 5 Tivoli shows I was top of the billing.
What was the act, Johnny?
I just did a straight act, but I used to do sketches, and you hadn't had sketches here, not since Mo was here.
Yes, of course.
Unfortunately, never saw Mo, because he died, I think, 1954.
Yes.
And they sort of used to liken me to Mo because we were the same type,
Yes.
When you were in vaudeville in England, did you appear with the likes of Flanagan and Allen, or Vera Lynn, or Tommy Trinder?
I'm a member of the oldest theatrical organisation in the world called the Grand Order of Water Rats, which is a charity organisation, and I'm probably one of the oldest members now. I've been a member, I think, 47 years, and I think I think somebody's been a member 54 years or 53, but there aren't many. But it's a great organisation, the Grand Order of Water Rats. They do absolutely wonderful things in England, and I really am proud to be such a member of such a wonderful thing. We've got 3 royals. We've got Prince Philip, Prince Charles, and Prince Andrew. They're all members of the Water Rats, but they're not real members. They're what we call companion members.
Why the title Water Rats?
Well, originally the Water Rats was started because of a trotting pony named the Magpie. Now, I'm going to cut this very short, but weeks and months after the Magpie won, and the comics all won a bit of money and gave it to other comedians and other people in the business that needed money, he was taking this Magpie horse around one day, and it was pouring with rain, and it had a funny hat on with its ears coming through it, and a tram driver in Brixton who was going by looked at that. His tram was also horse-driven, and he said, "What do you got there, mate?" And Joe Elvin, the man that was driving it, who was a big comic in England in the 1880s and 90s, said, "Don't be saucy, this is the magpie." He said, "It looks more like a bloody water rat." So they were at the time calling themselves the Grand Order of Stars, but all thought it was a bit ostentatious. So he said, "What an idea, we'll call ourselves the Water Rats. We call ourselves by the lowest and live up to the highest. And rats, spelt backwards, is star."
Ah, of course. Yeah.
Well, if you go back to 1935 on the stage in England, tell us some of the big names that you appeared with over the years.
Oh, Danny Kaye, most of the people that were big, you know. I mean, a lot of people that I appeared with you wouldn't even know here in Australia, but they're Gracie Fields and, you know, all the people that were big in vaudeville I played with. I played the Palladium about 4 or 5 times. I was only one of the acts on there. I wasn't the star by a long way.
Who was on the throne for the Royal Command performance, Johnny?
The night that I did it,
yes,
it was Maurice Chevalier.
Right.
Was the star of that.
Yeah, but who was on the throne?
Was it still George the Sixth?
Yes, and the Queen now, and I had a very funny experience at the Command performance. It was the Queen Mother and George VI, you see.
Right.
And I was on the stage, and on the stage, I used to do a lot of tumbling. If anybody ever remembers me when I was doing a vaudeville act, I used to do a lot of falls and tumbles. And I went to take a trip, and my foot got caught. It was at the London Coliseum, and my foot got caught in the stage where they'd taken the bungs out because they hadn't used the revolves for 3 years because of Annie Get Your Gun, the show, and they took them out for the Command performance. My heel got caught in it and threw me forward, and I hit my nose, and I really didn't know where I was, and I eventually staggered to the front of the stage, and I looked up and I said, "Oh yes, the King and Queen." And then I said, well, I'll tell you what, and I didn't know where I was, really I didn't, but I went on with the act like a boxer does, you know.
Yeah.
And suddenly my hand went to my nose, and I was smothered in blood, you know.
Yes.
And I said, we better do the dance, Wolfie, the song and dance. So I gave him the cue. I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, a song dedicated to my mother-in-law's varicose veins, Deep Purple. Are you ready?" And I gave him the cue, and the audience looked at him, you know, sort of, there was a gasp when they saw all this blood. And I looked at the audience, and I said, "Well, they told me you wanted blood tonight." Did it all the papers, and it did me a lot of good.
Yes, yeah.
Exciting night.
I saw you on stage at the Comedy Theatre in Melbourne many years ago in the Canterbury Tales, Johnny, and you really shine on stage in musicals.
Well, I tell you, I'm going into a new musical now. I haven't worked for nearly 12 years since I was in a stage show. I've been in a lot of television shows, you know, the Country Practice and all those shows, and Neighbours and all those things. But I'm going back into a new show opening in Sydney in January called How to Succeed in Business Without Even Trying. Now, John Frost, who is the owner of the theatre now at the Footbridge, he's the lessee of the, you know, he's the big cheese, okay? He was my dresser in the Canterbury Tales.
Oh, right.
17 years old, and we got on like a house on fire because he was marvellous, and I'm so thrilled with his success. But he came to me about 5 months ago, and he said, "Johnny, please do this for me." I said, "John, I haven't worked for so long." He said, "I want you to do it. I know that you can do this." So I said, "Well, I'll come and see you about it." And I went and saw it, and the director was over from England, and he said, "Well, let's see you do a number." So I did a number, and he said, "Look, I don't want anybody, you've got to do it." And I said, "Look, I don't want to do it because I have a business in Sydney now, Philip. I have a wedding reception place, you know."
Oh yes.
It really takes all my time up. And anyway, it went on and on and on, and eventually I said I would do it. But the reason I'm doing it more than anything else is such a wonderful cast. They've got Tom Burlington, you know, did Gallipoli, and do you know the young Australian boy?
Yes. Oh, yes, man from Snowy River as well.
Snowy River. Noel Ferrier. They've got Robin Archer, Jackie Love, and all.
And you know, you almost had Philip Brady.
Did Did we really? Well, you know who they've got, the part you were going to...
Yeah, Gordon Frost contacted me earlier this year, asked me to be in a cameo performance playing the TV anchorman. Who got that role?
No, it's a TV, not an anchor, what do they call it, like a host on
like an MC.
A game show host.
And I said to Gordon, look, I'm very flattered. I've never been asked to appear in a professional stage show, but I'm tied to my Melbourne commitments.
Greg Evans got it, didn't he?
Greg Evans is going to do it.
Yeah.
Does he have a song? Is it a good part?
Oh, I don't think he'll join in, of course. Georgie Parker's in it. Jackie Love, Robin Archer, Greg Evans.
So what have you got, the Rudy Valley part, have you?
I don't. That's Noel does that, but I do the mailman and the managing director of the firm, one part. I got two parts in.
Johnny Lockwood, our guest. Do you see your daughter Joanna very much, Johnny?
Quite a bit. Joanna, well, she lives the other side of Sydney to me, but Joanna and I get on great. I'm so proud of her. Like, she started this week in, E Street.
Lovely actress.
Gone into E Street for about a year.
Well, you were in that yourself.
I've done cameo roles in it, yes.
And also, I think I saw you in Neighbours in a country practice.
So, well, I've done all those things, you know.
Well, it's been lovely chatting to you, Johnny. We've spanned many years from the early 30s right up to today, and continued success in how to succeed in business without really trying.
We are. I don't know whether I will be coming to Melbourne with it, because I only would sign for the Sydney season.
Right.
It will be coming to Melbourne, and it's a fabulous cast. And that, now, if I come, I'd love to have another chat with you.
Love you to pop in live.
It won't be for about 6-7 more months.
Okay, Johnny.
Well, you're a man, Johnny Lockwood, who has always succeeded without having to try.
It's always nice to come to Melbourne. I've got some wonderful friends here. I'm staying with them here, the Carsons. They've got a florist shop out at Yarraville.
Good.
And they really are marvellous people. We've
Lovely.
known each other about 25 years and always got on great. It's always great to come to Melbourne.
Thank you very much indeed. Johnny Lockwood, a star of screen and vaudeville and number 96.